Thank you for joining me today as I discuss JCrew and their history through year 2014. I will explain their inside and outside forces, success factors, and strategies, as well as ways that they can improve in the future. I have time for questions at the end of the presentation, so let's begin. JCrew was originally founded in 1947 as Popular Merchandise Incorporated, doing business as Popular Club Plan. They sold low-cost women's clothing through in-home demonstrations. In the early 1980s, they began catalog sales which mimicked their competitors such as LL Bean, Land's End, and Talbot's. All of them were having booming sales periods. The first catalog was distributed in 1983, and this continued through 1989. The clothes that they sold had a high-class feel such as Ralph Lauren, but at a lower cost. The catalogs were typically 100 pages, and it was mailed 14 times a year. Through catalog sales, the sales for Popular Sales Club grew 25 to 30% a year and totaled $97 million in 5 years. In 1985, Clifford & Will's brand launched, which was selling more affordable clothing than the Popular Club Plan merchandise line. Popular Club Plan changed its name to JCrew in 1989. Popular Club Plan was to be sold to Epicure, which was a direct food marketing company. The proceeds from the sale were going to be broadening JCrew's enterprises, mainly in the catalog area. They planned to use the money to open many storefronts across the country. They opened their first store in Manhattan, New York in 1989. This offered them a chance to build relationships with customers who did not like to catalog shop. Research that they had done showed that 60% of most clothing sales were in stores versus 15% in catalogs, and JCrew wanted to gain these sales. Unfortunately, in 1989, the sales collapsed. Popular Club Plan did not sell as they had planned. JCrew had to find someone new to purchase the company so they could move forward with their planned endeavor. They had already spent money on catalog lines and opening storefronts and needed income to help build these stores. They had to scale back their plans from 45 stores down to 30 because of this problem. In 1990, they earned high revenues, but they did not have enough money to pay for the storefronts. They needed major plan changes. They hired a new marketing director in 1991. The new marketing director expanded their sales to Canada and opened 5 new stores, including a factory. In 1991, 75,000 JCrew and 6,000 Clifford & Will's catalogs had gone out to customers. The response was less popular in Canada, but the cost of the sales greatly improved over the U.S. sales. Finally, in 1998, Popular Club Plan was able to sell to Finger Hut companies. In 2000, JCrew sold the Clifford & Will's line to Spiegel Incorporated. They opened 82 new storefronts, 45 new factory outlets, and began a campaign of TV advertisements. In 2003, they hired CEO Millard Mickey Drexel. Mickey Drexel came to JCrew with a legacy for turning around the Gap and Drexler. He increased their sales and improved their market share. His hiring intention was to save troubled JCrew from falling profits and falling sales. He wanted to improve the quality of products, lower the cost of goods, and lose the trendy styles, wanted to rebrand JCrew as upscale boutique, creating new lines. He had a host of customers such as Michelle Obama, Kate Middleton, and Prince William. Summing up the Drexler years at JCrew, by 2006, JCrew offered 18 million shares, raising $376 million. They had a new Madewell line, which debuted in Texas, which was clothing for women, which was jeans, t-shirts, cardigans, boots, and accessories. In 2006, sales surpassed $1 billion. 2007 brought plans to open 35 new stores. In 2008, Mickey hired Jenna Lyons, who was someone that he had worked with previously. She was a fashion-forward thinker and wanted to revamp JCrew's image. Her line and success boomed in 2011 with $3 billion of businesses. But by 2014, sales fell and revenue was less and jobs had to be eliminated. Loyal customers were no longer intrigued by the trendy lines and they needed some more of the old clothing fashions that they had had. This is a 5-force analysis which shows a snapshot of the 5 biggest sources of concern for JCrew. JCrew's main source of contention begins and ends with their rivals. This is highest threat for them. There is heavy global competition and always at a price point. Another high area of interest threat is in substitution. As you will hear about some of their top competitors, it is easy for companies to make similar fashions stolen from other companies. A last high threat is the bargaining power. There are always new items of various costs being introduced. Brand loyalty is also not what it used to be, as disposable incomes become lesser for households. The 2 low threats are supplier power and threat of new entry. Anyone can sell anything on the internet, and geographical location is not near as important as it used to be with today's ease of sending packages and buying on the internet. 4 largest competitors to JCrew. The first is Ascena. Ascena was one of the largest retailers in U.S. women's industry. They were formerly known as the Dress Barn. They began in 1962. They held several clothing lines which dressed girls from the age of 7 to 14 to women who wore sizes 12 to 32. It was moderately priced clothing. Approximately 3,900 locations in the U.S., Puerto Rico, and Canada. They had annual revenues beginning at $1.7 billion in 2009, ending at $4.79 billion in 2014. Another successful competitor was Ann Incorporated. They opened their first store in 1954 in New Haven, Connecticut. They had approximately 1,000 locations, U.S., Puerto Rico, and Canada. They addressed women from age 25 to 50. They had affluent, upper moderate customers. They reached sales in 2013 of $2.4 billion and 2014 of $2.5 billion. A third competitor is Forever 21. Forever 21 began in 1984 in a small store in California. They are now the 5th largest retailer in the United States. They have clothing lines which dress men, women, and children, including toddlers. 60% of their apparel is made in China. This has forgiven them to a few class action lawsuits for non-payment of employees, poor working conditions, and OSHA fines. They have over 600 stores in the U.S., Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. They have budget-conscious clothes. In 2013, they had $2.7 billion. In 2014, $3.8 billion. They have also had 50 lawsuits for stealing designs and copyright infringement. A final consumer is H&M. H&M began in 1947 in Sweden, has 62 countries where they have stores, have over 3,000 stores, and they are ranked the 2nd largest global clothing retailer. They have significant online presence, sell clothes to children, men, and women, and even included home furnishings. They continually offer new clothing lines and have lots of changes in their clothes. They had controversy in 2012 where they were accused of stealing an artist's work. In 2013, they had $1.7 billion in revenues, and in 2014 had $2.8 billion in revenues. As you can see on this strategic group map, Ascena holds 7.1% of market share, and JCrew has 6.5% market share. While these two hold high market share, the highest earning companies are Forever 21 and H&M, which both have $4 billion. JCrew does have a good portion of market share, yet they definitely need improving in their worth. Here is another view of the same market share. Success in the retail specialty market depends on several key success factors. I chose 3 to focus on. Competition factors, which are products availability, product quality, fair pricing, and brand image. Purchase locations, which is one-stop shopping, such as Target, internet shopping, boutique, and mall. And then affordability. The per capita income level is now at $63,900. The Mid-Atlantic is at $72,800 and the Southeast at $55,000. The strengths and weaknesses for companies are also important. Some of JCrew's strengths are quality products, loyal customer base, global locations, and multiple product lines. Some of their weaknesses is the new CEO came in and wanted to be upscale and kind of left off some of their loyal customers, and they did not cater to lower income households. Some of the opportunities are rebranding, economy sales picking back up, e-commerce, men's clothing lines. Some of the threats are competitors' rising cost of raw materials, internet shopping is easy for new companies, changing trends, and women's clothing line sales had dropped. The value change analysis is very important to JCrew. they want to be responsible to the environment. They have a responsible sourcing program which delivers strong relationships with key suppliers. As they expand their environmental initiative into the company's supply chain, they want to build relationships not only to drive change, but also improve the impact of their factories in the environment. They use best practices and make sure their partners and suppliers who also want to have a positive impact on the environment are marketing their products. JCrew uses two main channels to deliver its products to customers. This is done through retail stores and direct sales, which includes websites and catalogs. They hire buyer agents to work with customers purchasing directly from trading companies and manufacturers. The buying agents receive commissions ensuring on-time deliveries. JCrew is a nationally recognized brand of apparel and accessories which protects an inspired American lifestyle through craftsmanship, quality, customer service, and standard of style. There are three things which separates them from competitors. They have more than one signature product, they offer a few separate clothing lines, and they do not have multi-tiered pricing. Their clientele is more elite, and they do not offer one-stop shopping at their specific boutiques and websites. They are sensitive to their environment through their conservative supply chain choices, and they have been able to rejuvenate sales and rekindle customer interest when faced with hard times. Now they need to achieve the following objectives. They need to attract new customers to JCrew stores, boost the company revenue, profitability, and overall brand strength, and they need to position the company for profitable long-term growth. JCrew's selling style is focused and on many focus differentiation. JCrew worked hard to stay at the forefront of fashion and deliver exactly what the consumer desired. In 1989, JCrew opened its first retail store in downtown Manhattan. It was there that JCrew developed its classic style and gained a loyal following. The store focused on upper middle class customers and aimed to provide them with leisure wear at a price point between Ralph Lauren and the Limited. These were more preppy and affluent customers. A typical shirt cost between $65 and $350. Pants were anywhere from $75 to $750 depending on the fabric and the collection it was bought from. In 1988, JCrew Factory was launched. While many people assumed the store was a typical outlet store, would just offer last season's leftovers, it was actually a different line created with a slightly different fabric or design that enabled a lower price. However, the local price for a typical shirt was $25 to $100 depending on the fabric used. JCrew extended not only its product depth but also its product depth. The company engaged in more expansion and added lines for children and men and the wedding party. The children's clothes were for ages 2 to 12, which were also very trendy and expensive, from $25 to $50 for a shirt and $50 to $80 for pants. The wedding style included clothes for a whole wedding line for the whole party, a dream gown, a new suit for the groom, dresses for the groom's bridesmaid, groomsmen's suits, tuxedos, anything that they wanted. In 2008, the Madewell line, a subsidiary of JCrew, was open to exclusively target younger female generations, offering more trendy clothing at a lower price point. The shirts here cost from $25 to $150, and jeans were an average of $130 a pair. Even though not all of JCrew's loyal followers were impressed with the new chain, JCrew was able to stay afloat. Drexler admitted that his styling may have gone too far and that changes needed to be made in the upcoming collections. The company's strategic changes had produced hoped-for revenue, but not steady income, and liquidity was steadily declining, and was acquired by TPG Capital and Leonard Green and Partners for approximately $3.1 billion debt. There are top priorities JCrew needs to address. They need to rebrand and reimage their women's line. They need to do this in a branch outside of their higher income only market. They need to consider creating an elite line towards young professionals with more money and just beginning their careers. They need to find a way to source cotton without having to go to China to do business. And they need to keep raw materials close and local to manufacturing facilities. They definitely need to gain a profit to avoid future debt losses. We could not offer many more recommendations to JCrew other than these. They need to modify their product line to offer what their loyal customers want, yet broaden their customer base towards a younger, trendy audience at price points which meet the needs of families with less disposable income, young professionals just beginning their career. They can gain a younger market loyalty, sell out of season higher price clothes at a discount, entice customers with specials and Christmas specials, try to focus on raw material purchases in the U.S. and local to the manufacturing facilities, increase advertising in magazines, television, and the internet, and continue catalog sales to older women and customers who do not spend time on the internet or boutiques. This is time for questions and answers. This is a listing of the sources we use to gain a better industry knowledge of retail specialty market as well as JCrew and their competitors. Thank you for your time and attention as we review JCrew and the potential they have to be successful moving forward.